the Hooghly River in Kolkata, there was an old two-story house where Sanjeet and Kajal lived. They had been married for almost 2 years and their life was full of peace and love. But after a few years of marriage, Sanjeet felt that Kajal was gradually changing in a strange way. Compared to before, she had become very quiet. Almost every night, she would spend hours staring at the dark waters of the Hooghly while holding onto the balcony railing, as if she was listening to something very carefully. Gradually, her attire was also changing, and she started wearing a red saree almost every day, the pallu swaying gently in the wind. She wore white bangles made of conch on her hands, and when she walked, those bangles made a soft tinkling sound. Additionally, Kajal, who didn't particularly like fish, started eating a lot of fish every day. And if Sanjeet forgot to bring fish one day, she would insist on getting it, and would send him back forcefully. Sanjeet couldn't understand what had suddenly happened to Kajal. One night, while Sanjeet was sleeping, he felt as if someone was nibbling at his shoulder. His sleep was abruptly broken, but when he looked, there was no one there. Only Kajal was beside him, peacefully sleeping deep. The next morning, when Sanjeet woke up, he felt a sharp pain in his shoulder and neck, as if some insect had bitten him. He looked and saw deep bite marks on his shoulder and neck, which made him panic. He suspected that maybe Kajal had been chewing on him like some animal. Kajal was not on the bed. Sanjeet got up and called out Kajal's name as he went towards the kitchen. The whole house was engulfed in darkness, and only a faint light from the fridge illuminated a little of the kitchen. As he stepped in, he noticed blood on the floor, and his hands and teeth were stained with it. Suddenly, Kajal turned her neck towards Sanjeet. Her eyes were completely red. Sanjeet's heart began to race, and before he knew it, Kajal lunged at him like a lion. Sanjeet was drenched in sweat and couldn't even move. He tried to get up, and his eyes fell on Kajal's reversed feet, and seeing that, Sanjeet got so scared that he fainted. The next morning, when Sanjeet opened his eyes, he saw the white conch bangles on his hands were tinkling continuously. Without asking Kajal any questions, Sanjeet quietly went to the kitchen. He opened the fridge and saw that 4 kilos of fish stored inside were missing. Sanjeet realized that something had happened to him that night. Saying all this, Sanjeet's heart started racing. He had been living in the same house with someone who could not be Kajal. Without wasting any time, Sanjeet went straight to an old tantric in Shobha Bazaar. People said that the tantric could recognize is a spirit that appears beautiful and starts fulfilling its desires, and then gradually weakens the man by drinking his blood. The tantric also said that until she drains every drop of blood from Sanjeet's body, she wouldn't leave. He warned Sanjit that if there was even a slight delay, the spirit would kill him. Sanjit completely believed the tantric's words. He had heard many stories about Shakshuni since childhood, but before that day, he thought all of it was fictional. But not that day. No! No! Lee! I... entered the house while chanting a mantra. The temperature in the house suddenly dropped. She was Kajal anymore. She was transforming into a Shakshuni. The tantric began to chant the mantra louder, but it seemed like it had no effect on the Shakshuni. Suddenly, Kajal jerked violently and turned. All lights went out. The tantric's cries of pain echoed throughout the house. Kajal was drinking his blood without stopping. And Sanjit, terrified, began to tremble. But Kajal had now turned towards him, her reversed feet scraping against the ground as she moved, and her red sari shimmered in the darkness. That night, a chilling scream was heard from Sanjit's house. The next morning, when the police and neighbors entered the house, they saw a very horrifying scene. Sanjit and the tantric's bodies were lying on the floor. Their bodies had deep bite marks, and the strangest thing was that their bodies were completely white, as if not a single drop of blood remained. The doctors couldn't understand the real cause of their death. After that day, Kajal disappeared. Mrs. Chatterjee had gone into hiding. Her body was also completely white, and it had 2 bite marks as well, as if someone had completely drained the blood from her body. Her family, terrified, shifted out of that neighborhood overnight. Even today, in that alley, the swaying Zare with her conch bangles can be seen shining from afar, and the sound of them clinking together echoes in the silence of the night like a terrifying scream.